After getting some requests to do a video about my experience at UCSB, and after thinking long and hard about how to even approach making a video like this, I finally decided that the best way to get my experience across to you guys is to show you. So I found as much footage as possible from my time at UCSB, and I put together a video that I hope gives you guys an idea of what it's like to go there. Anyway, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started. If you're watching this video, chances are you just got accepted into UCSB, or you're thinking of applying. Either way, welcome to your visual UCSB experience. Yep, that's me right there, walking down the stairs in the little beachy town next to our school called Isla Vista. Isla Vista, California has a total area of about 1.9 square miles, and this just so happens to be the town where most UCSB students end up living. On one side, you're surrounded by the Santa Ynez Mountains, and on the other, you're surrounded by the ocean. There are palm tree-filled streets, beachy houses, covered in tropical plants and flowers. And there's always beach access every few blocks. Many students end up living in oceanside houses or apartments, and the view there is honestly amazing. Sometimes you even see dolphins from your window. And on stormy days, you still have one of the best views in California. And of course, when the storm is over, there's sometimes a rainbow. UCSB students also get some of the coolest grad photos. Because after all, you have one of the best locations. I mean, who wouldn't want to live here? UCSB, the place where people walk to class barefoot, carry surfboards across campus, use beach towels as umbrellas, or even butterfly nets, where rainy day attire is shorts and a t-shirt, and everyday attire is a bikini and board shorts, where on hot days you might grab your friends and a raft and anchor yourself out in the middle of the ocean. Or just paddle. On weekends, you might find yourself barbecuing with your friends. There's even a house on a street called Del Playa that calls themselves Jesus Burgers and gives out free burgers to anyone passing by, where the view from your dorm room can look like this, and the campus pools look like 5-star resorts. They're a great place to study, or just hang out on hot days. They've got great cabanas too, if you want to get your tan on. We even grill by the pools. And at night, everyone's still there. Sometimes they'll even have a movie night. But the best part is the sunsets. School is not everyone's favorite activity, but you spend lots of time in labs and classrooms, which, by the way, usually have a pretty cool view. Lecture halls aren't too bad either. They're a great time to sprawl out on the floor if that's what you like to do while you learn. In between classes, you've got great areas to sit, eat, study, and sleep. We have food carts, a beautiful palm tree quad, and many other areas to relax. In the middle of campus, we have Stork Tower and a little pond where you can watch fish swim and the occasional turtle. And if you get lucky, you might be able to pet him. Studying might make you end up going a little nuts. You might even find yourself changing your desktop background to something more motivational. Let me explain. This is called the Primal Scream. It's where students meet up in the middle of campus during finals week and just scream. Anyway, carry on. You'll be spending late nights in the library supporting your friends and studying all day and night until you pass out. UCSB is currently ranked as the 5th best public national university. Despite having a party reputation, UCSB works hard. But it is true that we sure do know how to have a hell of a good time. Let me show you what that looks like here. Believe it or not, this is a backyard. Parties at UCSB often have hundreds and hundreds of people. We also have some of the best setups. We've got live music and DJs. All in all, we sure do know how to throw a banger. And of course, since it's UCSB, you might even find a banana tree in someone's backyard. And you definitely don't need to know how to dance in order to draw a crowd. We'll cheer for a lot of things, but don't party too hard. Parties also happen during the day here. Dagers are quite the rage. Just grab all your friends, plan a time, and party by the ocean. This particular party actually happens to be an event called Deltopia. Deltopia occurs the weekend after spring break. And it's basically when Isla Vista turns into one big dager. The partying starts in the morning on Del Playa, or DP as we call it, but you'll find parties on lots of other streets as well, and they'll go all day and into the night. This right here is Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Fun Day is basically a Greek life event that kicks off spring quarter. There's usually tons of water slides and lots of foam parties. And this is Extravaganza. Extravaganza is a campus-organized mini Coachella. We usually have well-known artists come perform, and everyone has a good time. We also celebrate things like Holi, India's festival of colors. And at the end, we wash off in the ocean. The Undie Run is also something that we do quarterly. It's where all the students meet in the middle of campus, strip down to donate all their clothes, and then run basically naked through campus and then Isla Vista, where we end up usually in the ocean. UCSB was also once known for its infamous Halloween parties. Now it's turned into a Halloween concert where we also have well-known artists come perform. The campus itself also sometimes throws things like welcome back parties. This typically happens at the beginning of the year in the middle of campus. Sometimes people go a bit crazy and climb palm trees, but most times it's pretty chill. UCSB loves its nature. We're surrounded by it, whether it's the lagoon right here on campus or the hike that you can take up to Knapp's Castle, which, by the way, has some crazy cool views. And some animals. There's also a really fun hike to a place called the Gaviota Wind Caves. It consists of tunnels made of rock that you can crawl into and get one of the coolest views in Santa Barbara. In addition, there's also the Gaviota Hot Springs. This is a great place to go if you want to relax after all your exploring. There's also a place called Red Rock, and this has some amazing swimming holes for those hot days. Also, if you happen to be into fitness but don't want to use a gym, you can wake up early and take a jog up to one of our beautiful campus locations like the Labyrinth, or just run cliffside along one of the many trails we have. I'm just gonna let this clip run because it's so serene and I think you guys might enjoy it. If you happen to be a surfer as well, you can always do that too. Gauchos love their sports. And if they're not playing leisurely, chances are they're one of our many athletes. We don't have a football team here, so soccer is our football, which in Europe actually makes total sense. Soccer is one of the biggest sporting events that we have here at UCSB. I actually worked for the athletics department for about 3 years, setting up and helping with games. This is what my uniform looked like, with a little UCSB and guest services. We also have a cheer team. There they are practicing. And we have a dance team. There they are filing in. Something else really fun about my job is that for big games, we sometimes got food, which I loved. This particular game was against Cal Poly, which are our biggest rivals, and you can see that all the Gauchos came out to support. Throwing tortillas, by the way, is how we celebrate any kind of win. If you don't like soccer though, we also have baseball, softball, volleyball, water polo, swim meets, which by the way have some of the loudest and proudest fans, track and field, basketball. Sometimes the Harlem Globetrotters will even stop by and give us a show. If not though, we have other halftime shows. We have all these sports at our school and more, but if you're not into conventional sports, our other biggest sport here is beer die. Sometimes we play rage cage, which we call gaucho ball, but most times it's just beer die. We play die during the day, at night, oceanside might I add. We play 6-man. We play wherever we go. Even in the snow. Because no matter where we are, Gauchos always find the beach. If you're not a fan of playing beer die though, you can always just watch from one of our many beautiful rooftop views. It could be dinner and a show. Or you might even change your mind and join in. Beer die is so popular here that everyone follows the page Die is Life, and the page even asked me to model their new merch ones, which was pretty cool. Go ahead and give it a like if you want. Oh, and follow me. UCSB is surrounded by great places to visit. There's Goleta, which has a beautiful beach and pier, where you can spend all day jumping off, or night. Some people actually prefer jumping off at 2 in the morning. The view in the evening is also really beautiful, and there's even a restaurant at the end of the pier where you can get dinner. Goleta also has a bowling alley called Zoto's where a lot of students go for a fun time. There's tons of great places to shop and eat, and there's also a movie theater, which by the way happens to be the outside view of the theater in the show Drake and Josh. Then there's downtown Santa Barbara. It also has a pier, which by the way has really great ice cream, and tons of little shops, and again a beautiful beach. It also has a killer view at night, if you want to pop open some bubbly and relax. You can also see tons of wildlife from there as well. State Street and Paseo Nuevo are some of the most popular places to shop and eat. They have just about any store that you can think of. Another really fun thing to do is called the Land Shark. It's basically a bus tour through downtown Santa Barbara, and then it hits the water and becomes a boat tour. There's also lots of nightlife in Santa Barbara, tons of clubs and bars, such as EOS, Wildcat, Sharky's, Sandbar, and more. This is one of my friends that happened to work security at EOS, and something fun about college is that a lot of students work, so there's usually someone you know everywhere you go. If none of that suits your fancy though, you can hop along further down the coast to Ventura or even Carpinteria. These are fun little beachy areas that also resemble what you get in Santa Barbara, but a little change of scenery. There's also a little Danish city near Santa Barbara called Solvang, which is a really easy place to travel to if you're looking for a little weekend getaway. Or you can take a trip out to the Channel Islands, which you can actually see from campus. The Channel Islands consist of 8 islands, 5 of which are part of Channel Islands National Park and Marine Sanctuary. Taking a ferry over to the islands can be a fun day trip, or you could rent a cabin or camp and stay for multiple days. There's so much to explore there, and there's tons of wildlife. Other places that are a little farther away but still close enough include LA, which usually always has something happening, whether it's a rave or things like American Idol, which if you're a student, you might end up getting some emails about free tickets, which actually do get you in for free. And you can see people like J-Lo up close or be on TV with her and Kelly Clarkson. Another really fun thing to do is grab your friends and take a road trip up to Big Bear. Big Bear has some of the most scenic and serene views, and it's a great place to spend the winter. You can rent out a cabin with your friends, party on the slopes, ski or snowboard or snowball. UCSB is very animal friendly. Something that not a lot of people know is that if you have a horse, there's actually a place where you can keep it. You'll also see tons of wildlife like cute little bunnies, ducks that for some reason happen to love the pools, and almost everyone's favorite, puppies. Isla Vista is so full of puppies, it's ridiculous. But I'm not complaining. We even have dog therapy days at school, where if you're stressed, you can play for a few hours with a bunch of dogs. Puppies, puppers, doggos, dogs, whatever you want to call them, they live a really great life here in Isla Vista. You'll see them at lots of parties sporting their best little Hawaiian shirts, and you'll find them at a lot of people's houses, even classrooms. And if they're not tugging on your clothes in a classroom, they'll be tugging on your clothes at someone's house. And if they're not chewing your fingers in a classroom, you can bet they're chewing your fingers at someone's house. And if they're not in a lap, or being cuddled and being fought over, or lounging poolside, you might find them in the ocean, learning how to surf. If dogs aren't your thing though, we also have cats. Lots and lots of cats, and we love them. You just don't see them as much. The animals that you'll see around all the time though are raccoons. And I mean literally everywhere. Digging around at 2 in the morning looking for food, just like any typical UCSB student. Except we usually end up at places like Freebirds. You'll mostly see raccoons at night, and I've even seen them on the beach, which is pretty cool. They're nothing to really be afraid of, but don't get too close because they are wild animals. They're pretty darn cute though. One more thing that I want to leave you with before I sign off is that if you're going to be a gaucho, you better know our cheer. To be a gaucho means a lot. There's so many ways that you could describe a gaucho. For example, determined, passionate, hardworking, knows how to have a good time, and will always have another gaucho's back. We actually have a saying called gaucho back, which basically means got your back. Graduating from a place like this was hard. You don't really want to leave everything that you created here. But I was really ready to start the rest of my life, and what really helped was knowing that what I created here wasn't actually going to be something I was leaving. It was going to come with me. So if you're trying to decide on going to UCSB and being a gaucho for the next 4 years of your college career, that's up to you. But I hope that this video gave you some insight into what it's like to go to UCSB and what UCSB means to me.